Today is the 14th day of the 6th month in the 9th year of Channel Group, July 23, 2021. To begin our day, let's offer our respect and gratitude to our Heavenly Parent and true parents of heaven, earth, and all humankind. Chanjin, Chambumonim ke, Kongbe, Baro, let us recite Family Pledge number 1. Our family, the honor of Channel Group, pledge us to seek our original homeland and build the kingdom of Heavenly Parent on earth and in heaven, the original ideal of creation, by centering on true love. 2. Our family, the honor of Channel Group, pledge us to represent and become central to heaven and earth by attending the Heavenly Parent and true parents. We pledge to perfect the beautiful family way of filial sons and daughters in our family, patriots in our nation, saints in the world, and divine sons and daughters in heaven and on earth by centering on true love. 3. Our family, the honor of Channel Group, pledges to perfect the four great realms of heart, the three great kingships, and the realm of the royal family by centering on true love. 4. Our family, the honor of Channel Group, pledges to build the universal family encompassing heaven and earth, which is Heavenly Parent's ideal of creation, and perfect the world of freedom, peace, unity, and happiness by centering on true love. 5. Our family, the honor of Channel Group, pledges to strive every day to advance the unification of the spirit world and physical world as subject and object partners by centering on true love. 6. Our family, the honor of Channel Group, pledges to become a family that moves heavenly fortune by embodying the Heavenly Parent and true parents, and to perfect a family that conveys heaven's blessing to our community by centering on true love. 7. Our family, the honor of Channel Group, pledges through living for the sake of others to perfect a world based on the culture of heart, which is rooted in the original lineage by centering on true love. 8. Our family, the honor of Channel Group, pledges, having entered the era of Channel Group, to achieve the ideal of Heavenly Parent and human beings united in love through absolute faith, absolute love, and absolute obedience, and to perfect the realm of liberation and complete freedom in the kingdom of Heavenly Parent on earth and in heaven by centering on true love.
For our opening prayer, may I call in Mrs. Emily.
Loving Heavenly Father and Good Parents, we come to you today asking for your blessing as we are gathered here together and listening the blessing. You love us unconditionally and give to us a love for you. You have bonded with us and you give us the gift of loving and gentle nature. One in heaven, thank you so much, Father, for this day, for giving another chance of our life. Thank you so much, Father, for your awareness. That despite Father for our mistakes, for our limitations, and for our shortcomings, you are also our Father, giving us another chance. So in heaven, I commitment our love and our determination. And I wish to our Father, for our brothers and sisters, who bring God and the Father and the Father, and those are welcome to celebrate the Son Father, the Father of the Spirit Father. So in heaven, we thank you for this day, for our life and our health. We thank you for our sound mind and stable body as we work towards aligning our hearts with the Heavenly Person to parents. We pray that we will start to develop our attitude of gratitude. Thank you, Father, for the freedom that we use. And we pray that we use the freedom and good health to serve those around us through life. To ask that we will be willing to help other people more significant than ourselves, that we'll be able to sacrifice those things we hold on tightly in order to serve other people. We pray that we'll do our part to become a Tunco family, Father, in the future, Father. Thank you, Father, for having faith. Thank you, Father, for everything. We would like, Father, to every prayer, having faith in the second you, and restore the assembly to you, the Tunco family.
Jew. Brothers and sisters, let's have our unison prayer. Aju, Aju, Aju. A beautiful Friday to our heavenly parents and true parents, to our leaders, Chonbo and blessed families, blessed children, brothers and sisters. Welcome to today's morning devotion. And how about greeting our leaders, parents, brothers and sisters at home or in the center? Good morning. Magandang umaga po and maayong buntag. Thank you for that. For our Hundok reading, may I call in Miss Jonah May Mabayag of Cebu Center.
Good morning, Heavenly Parent, True Parent, National Leaders. Good morning, Elders. Good morning, brothers and sisters. Mother of Peace by Hak Jen Han Moon. Chapter 6 Creating the Road to One World. Continuation. While in North Korea, even though we were honored as state guests, we could not sleep comfortably, knowing that there were thousands upon thousands of families separated and longing for each other because Korea was not yet unified. We stayed awake every night, seeking to connect heavenly fortune to that place through our heartfelt prayer. We spent those nights submitting ourselves to God. For the sake of unification of the Korean Peninsula, political negotiation and economic exchange will come only on the foundation of the true love of God. By making this our focus, our talk with Chairman Kim opened a new chapter for the unification of North and South Korea. Looking back, I reflect that I was at the moment communism reached its zenith, that my husband and I risked our life to go to the Moscow and Pyongyang with joyful hearts as representative of the free world. We embraced enemies who had severely persecuted us. By our doing so, they were moved and we could reconcile those we laid and foundation for unification and peace. We went to North Korea not to get something but to give genuine true love for the sake of God. My husband and I forgave the unforgivable for the sake of humanity. We love and unlovable. August 5, 2007, opening of the World Peace Center, Pyongyang, built by the Unification Movement. Soon after the completion of our eight-day mission, North Korea's Prime Minister Yoon Hyung-mook led a delegation to Seoul and signed a joint declaration on the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula with the South Korean government. Over the coming months. Our movement set up an industrial enterprise, the Pyonghwa Motor Factory, as well as the Butong River Hotel and the World Peace Center, all in Pyongyang as the cornerstone for the unification. Afterwards, the seeds planted by my husband and I at the time bore fruit with the visit of the South Korean president to North Korea to discuss the path towards unification. On that foundation, the shoots of peace and unification are growing. When those shoot blossoms into full bloom, the earnest prayers my husband and I have offered for Korean unification will be remembered forever. After our meetings with President Gorbachev and Chairman Kim, my husband and I mapped out our next steps. We envisioned God-centered organization that would fill the vacuum about the created by communism demise and undergird effective peace building with the tangible means of militant communism now fading. The reformation of religion, faith, and family based morality was the next mountain to climb. It had taken more than 50 years to sweep international communism into the dustbin of history, but the decline of religion and family life is a subtler and therefore more pernicious trait. Religious leaders are tasked by God to guide people to live responsibly, but the influence of religion in more modern times has been declining. Our challenge now becomes the restoration of religious faith as society's compass. Thus, we intensified our investment in bringing religious leaders to see beyond their denominational horizons and, and, and interreligious conflict and work together based upon universally shared God-centered values. These are the same absolute values around which we call scientists, media professionals, and political leaders to work. Healthy societies of all races, national and religious, arise on the foundation of morality and ethics, which in turn arise on the foundation of love of God between husband and wife. Parent and children, this love of God in family is the source of absolute values, values that are universally shared and taught by all religions. We inspired faith leaders to work together and teach these universally shared values. We actually have invested more of our movement resources on this than on growth of our church. Our vision brought together religious leaders and government leaders centered centered around common peace and true freedom. Aju.
Aju. Thank you so much, Sister Jonah. And a billion thanks to our heavenly parents and true parents for these precious words that mold into life. How about we give a hand to our heavenly parents and true parents? Thank you so much. As water reflects the face, so one's life reflects the heart. Today's share of the 10 points of gratitude is a core blessed Japanese Filipino family residing now in Japan. Brothers and sisters, please help me welcome Mrs. Wilma Nacorda Kondo. Good morning po, Tita Wilma.
Good morning. Good morning, brothers and sisters. Can you hear me?
Yes
Is
po,
it
very
okay?
loud and clear po.
Okay. So thank you. I'm grateful for everything and for this opportunity that I am given chance to express my gratitude. So actually there are many things to be grateful for, and when I think of it, one day is not enough to express my gratitude. So I would start now. No words that could truly convey my heart in expressing my gratitude to God, our Heavenly Parent, for everything. And there is no explanation why I'm grateful for them. And then I'm grateful for true parents, for everything, and for the true children. And grateful for our Lord Jesus Christ, for all his love and sacrifices for the world and for humankind. No matter how lonely and painful the path he had, even at, in the womb, when he was in the womb until he was born, but still Jesus keep his love to God and humankind until he searched and searched for his second coming, until he could find true Father. And I'm deeply grateful for true Father, for true parents, for true Father to overcome everything, and until he could find the only begotten daughter, our true mother. And deeply grateful for true mother who overcome everything and even going beyond her physical limitation in order to bring the world and the cosmos back to our heavenly parent. And grateful for the true children. Actually, when I reflected, I realized all the true children, even they have their own struggles, but they all receive the blessing from true parents. So they receive their spouses from true parents in the beginning, and now true mother said in her autobiography that the true children are pioneering their own course. And I'm grateful for the Chun Sung Young. Of all the speeches of the true parents, of course, I'm very much grateful for everything, especially the Chun Sung Young, because when I read the Chun Sung Young, it really explains everything, what will happen in the future. And true parents give me clear understanding of what will happen in the future. And I read there in the Chun Sung Young's True Father said, True Father mentioned that, the youngest son, Hyung Jinim, he said, True Father said, Hyung Jinim is carrying the resentment of all the ages, the resentment of the Old Testament age, the New Testament age, and the completed Testament age. So his life must be very difficult. The internal battle must be very difficult. So that's why uh, it's not easy if we are in the struggles, how to fight Satan. So how to fight those uh, struggles in of all the ages. So we have to pray for our elder brother Young Jinin. So all the true children, they have their own difficulties in overcoming, but still they're there. And of course, I'm grateful for the true parents and true parents, brothers and sisters, that they are there supporting our true parents. And grateful for uh, Lord Hongjinim and Daemonim, uh, the true mother's mother, and also Mrs. Kim Yuna, the medium of uh, Daemonim. Before, uh, so that the Chongpyong works, the liberation and blessing of ancestors will start. Daemonim, the true mother's mother, used medium, and her medium was Mrs. Kim Yunam. And then when I attended my 40 days in Chongpyong last 1999, there I understood the reality in the spirit world, because Mrs. Kim Yunam explained to us her experience in hell when he went down to the spirit world to pick up our ancestors and to liberate our ancestors. And she did a lot of sacrifice and even test from Satan, and she could overcome. And what was very difficult was the persecution from inside, persecution from the leaders and our members who could not understand her mission. But still, she kept going until she could finish her mission. Until there was even one time that she said that she wanted to finish her mission, but True Father said, "You continue." Until when True Father went to the spirit world, when True Father went to the spirit world, Mrs. Kim Yunam, Temonim's medium, was finished. True Mother gave her recognition and award, because after True Father went to the spirit world, no need of medium, because True Father and True Mother are one. True Father represent True Father in the spirit world and True Mother in the physical world. And also, we already have lots of absolute good ancestors and absolute good spirits who will be the one to remove our evil spirits. And also, grateful for uh, all my ancestors, and to mention my uh, physical father in the spirit in the spirit world, have been guiding us and always being with us and reminding us how to live a good life. And grateful for all the absolute good spirit in the spirit world and all the saints and sages. And I'm grateful for my physical parents, my family, my brothers and sisters, and my spiritual parent, my spiritual father, who is my brother, Edgar Nacorda, and all my spiritual lineage, my spiritual children, and actually all those leaders and brothers and sisters who have contributed so much in my life of faith. And there are too many to mention, but I'm grateful to all of them, and of course to all of you, my brothers and sisters, who are always there. And I'm grateful for uh, my husband and children. My husband, who is my comrade of faith, my best friend, and all my children, or children who really help me how to reach perfection. They are raising me to become a good mother. And also, uh, actually, there are many things, but I'm grateful also for all my cousins and relatives and our tribe. Atibilin Brusola, even though she has many limitations, but she also helped us in our Heavenly Tribal Messiah. And she educated and she gave them the trade ceremony. And I would like to express also my gratitude to our Kuya Joseph Nabalta and Ate Didi, because last 2012, 13, when after True Father went to the spirit world, I could not really every day I've been thinking how we could fulfill the 430 uh, couples. Actually, since 1987, 88, we started already during the persecution time. We started already witnessing our family and our tribe. So all they received blessing, but there was no trade ceremony yet. But that year, when in my mind, strongly came that I have to uh, contact Kuya Joseph Nabalta, and then their humble attitude, Kuya Joseph, humble attitude, and Ate Diding's determination, they help us educate our tribe in Caloocan City until uh, they could have trade ceremony, and then they train at Tibilim Brusola. So that's how we could have a trade ceremony of our tribe. And then grateful for all the leaders, Kuya Jimmy, Ate Shirley, Kuya Julius, everyone, and our national leader now. When I first see our national leader now, in Eleo, when he gave I could not forget the very first morning devotion in Philippines. I could not understand my feeling. I just cried and cried and cried of my gratitude to him, because as young as he is, he still have the determination to guide our nation. And thank you for all my brothers and sisters. I want to mention all of you, but because of the time, so but please bear in your heart and mind that I'm grateful to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much po, Tita Wilma, for being a filial daughter to our heavenly parent and true parents. Thank you for all your hard works and heart works. And personally, I am inspired po by your sharing, and I would like to inherit that kind of spirit and heart from elders like you. And we are all very grateful for heavenly parents and true parents for raising someone like you. So, brothers and sisters, with that, let us have grateful hearts as we listen to today's offering song.
So, we will sing a song entitled Top of the World.
Thank you so much, Cebu Center. Indeed, the love of our heavenly parents and true parents put us all at the top of this beautiful world. Now, let us prepare our minds and hearts as we hear the words of our heavenly parents and true parents through our Father in this holy community, Reverend Leo Angelotti Hallowed.
Thank you very much, our Brother Dale. First, I would like to greet our Heavenly Parents and True Parents. Good morning, our Heavenly Parents and True Parents. To all our beloved leaders, all our Chonbo families, blessed families, brothers and sisters, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Thank you so much once again for joining today's morning devotion. I would like to really thank our Region 7 for hosting today's morning devotion, particularly Bohol today as the host. I'm really inspired and thankful for the 10 points of gratitude offered to us by our elder sister, Ati Wilma. Thank you very much po. And also for that inspiring song offered by our headed by our regional leader, our Kuya Cesar, and our members, full-time members from Cebu Center. Thank you so much. Despite this weather that we have now, there is, I think, typhoon continuously raining, I think, for already 3 days. But continuously, we can see great hope through the inspiration that we are receiving from brothers and sisters, of course, from Heavenly Parent and True Parents. Yeah, so thank you again. So today is our second day of our 40-day morning devotion. And today is a historical day. Today is the official opening ceremony of the Tokyo Olympics in Japan. And we are very much connected to this. Of course, we have athletes from the Philippines, but yesterday our regional president shared to us that his son is one of the torchbearer of Tokyo Olympics. So today they will going to have the they will going to light the torch, and then they will going to start the Tokyo Olympics today. So let's pray for the success of the Tokyo Olympics despite the situation. Yeah, so we hope that through this we can again bring people together despite the corona pandemic. So let's really pray for the success of the Tokyo Olympics. So this morning I will be sharing with you this morning I will going to share this topic entitled God's Call. Okay, let us study together to parents' words. Father said, God is calling us to a hopeful future. God is calling us to a hopeful future. Those who receive that call follow the path of destiny and not the path of fortune. The path of fortune can change, but the path of destiny cannot. Can you change who your father is or who your siblings are? No, you cannot. They are part of your destiny. God desires to reach and settle in the place that heavenly fortune has determined. History has been developing, centered on the path to that place. The starting point of this secure settlement is the true parents. God has already determined our destiny, which is to become true children with the true parents at the center. That destiny cannot be changed. So all of us, we are called by Heavenly Parent. So meaning this destiny, cannot be changed. We are all called, Father said here, all of us are called and, determined to become really true children with the true parents at the center. So this destiny of ours cannot be changed. So that's why, we are here, we are being called by Heavenly Parent to also do, this mission. So Father said that those who receive the call follow the path of destiny. and not the path of fortune. So not only it's because of luck or we are fortunate people, not only that, but this is our destiny. So the path of fortune can change, but the path of destiny cannot change. So that's why, we are all here, because actually this is our destiny. Heavenly Parent have called us, especially to become really true children, to become true sons and daughters of Heavenly Parent, centering on our beloved true parents. Father said that the starting point of this secure settlement is the true parents. That's why how much, even until this time, how much people are waiting. Maybe it's not just, so clear for other people, but actually all denominations or religions are waiting for the coming actually of Jesus, right? The second coming. So this is actually the starting point. That's why we who knows true parents, how really, important that we could know already our destiny, that starts through our true parents. This is the starting point of settlement. That's why we are really so grateful that Heavenly Parents has called us, right? And given us this opportunity today to work together with our beloved true parents. That's why no matter what, right? True parents have called us, our ancestors prepared everything for us to go on this path that we are going through now, right? So Heavenly Parents has called us to really create a future full of hope, not only for our generation this time, but for the future generation. That's why we already understand that Heavenly Parents has called us. So no matter what, we have to fulfill what we are called for. This is our destiny. Aju, so all of us needs to be victorious because we are all meant to become true parents' children. Aju? Father said we are called to complete God's hope and purpose. People hope with all their heart, mind, and body that they might finally enter God's direct dominion. Today, God has given us not only the mission to work toward realizing this hope and purpose, He is calling us to complete it. To do so, we must restore God's rightful dominion as Lord over us and the creation. We should also praise and thank God for blessing us with His governance. The responsibility to restore God's rightful dominion does not rest with the creation or with the angels in heaven. It is we who must now fulfill that. So, we are called not only to do certain things, and then, not only to start or accomplish something, but we are called to complete it, especially now in this era that our true parents, in the first 7-year course, true mother had accomplished amazing and really great things. Mother promised to fulfill 7 nations. True mother accomplished that, and then true mother also restored 7 denominations. So now we are now on the final stage of completion. Mother declared settlement of Channel Book, and then true mother determined to complete everything in her lifetime. So we are now in this era where the final completion. So can you imagine how really fortunate people we are? So this is also the main reason why we were called by God, not only to do certain part, but for us to complete it. Sabi ni Father dito, today God has given us not only the mission to work toward realizing this hope and purpose, He is calling us to complete it. That's why no matter what, in our lifetime, right? In the lifetime of True Mother, we who are working together now with True Mother, we are called to complete this mission, this responsibility, this hope, this purpose, right? So Father said, the responsibility to restore God's rightful dominion does not rest with the creation or with the angels in heaven. It is we who must now fulfill that. So that's why we cannot just hope. I hope God's will can be realized. We cannot just, people that just hope for the fulfillment of God's will. But we are the ones who will going to do it. We are the ones who will going to fulfill it. We are the ones who will going to complete it right before our very eyes. This is who we are. This is how we were called by heaven. Aju, that's why we cannot just hope. We cannot just rely to other people. I hope they can fulfill the responsibility, but We have to determine that we will going to fulfill our responsibility. We cannot just hope, right? We are called to complete it without fail. Aju, this is the responsibility that lies in our hands. That's why all of us now, we have to work in unity with True Mother. Put all our effort, go beyond our limitation, put our life on the line. That in this second 7-year course, together with True Mother, we're going to complete the providence without fail. Aju, this is why God called us. So we are truly thankful to our Heavenly Parent and True Parents for entrusting to us this great responsibility. Father said, God seeks after each and every one of us. So God seeks after each and every one of us. Through us, He desires to recover the family, the society, and to expand His domain over the world. However, the path to this goal is still obstructed. Throughout the course of providential history, heaven came down to earth to find each one of us. Now, we as individuals must return to heaven, but our way is blocked. People have sought to realize goodness, denying worldly things and cutting themselves off from the world. They have striven to find what is original, to recover what has been lost, and to bring it back to God. Yet, they had to confront their own limitations and have faced an impassable threshold. You should feel God's anguish over this history. You should empathize with Jesus' sorrowful heart. You need to feel God's heart to your very core. During the last 6,000 years, He has been going through all manner of suffering and grief to personally find you. Can you imagine Heavenly Parent has have gone through, Father said here, all manner of suffering and grief just to personally find each and every one of us. That's why our coming here, being here now, working together with True Mother, the course that God have gone through, our ancestors have, paved the way for us. These are not easy, experience. Heavenly Parents have gone through all the manner of suffering and grief just to personally find each one of us. Kaya nga, we cannot just easily give up. Right? Father saying here, our black past path. It's not easy actually. So now we as individuals must return to heaven, but our way is blocked. People have sought to realize goodness, denying worldly things and cutting themselves off from the world. They have striven to find what is original, to recover what has been lost, and to bring it back to God. Yet, they had to confront their own limitations and have faced an impossible threshold. So you should feel God's anguish over this history, Father said. You should empathize with Jesus' sorrowful heart. You need to feel God's heart to your very core. So actually, we are trying continuously. Brothers and sisters came also, they have tried to, deny the world and then cutting off ourselves from Satan, from the world, and then, trying to find what is original and recover what has been lost and bring everything back to Heavenly Parent. But yet, Father said they had to confront their own limitations and have faced an impossible threshold. So we find, as we move forward in our course, and then we find a lot of challenges and difficulties. Some gave up, right? Some gave up. They lost their way because of this. But Father said, as we pass through, as we go through this course, we should feel God's anguish over this history. As we find the difficulty, and then we have to realize also how much Heavenly Parent, how much the difficulty that Heavenly Parents have to overcome. So Father said, you should empathize with Jesus' sorrowful heart. Can you imagine the course of Jesus? But He never gave up until the very end. Even at, while Jesus was on the cross, He never lose hope, right? But continue, His heart, and even forgiven, ask Heavenly Parent to forgive the people during the time. He never gave up. So Father said, you need to feel God's heart to your very core. So as we are going through our own path, yes, there are many challenges and difficulties, but we have to really understand how much our Heavenly Parent, how much Jesus Christ, how much our true parents have gone through for us to be here now in this, providential time where we are living in, and then how much Heavenly Parent have suffered for thousands of years just to personally find us. Aju? So if we understand the value of us now being here, we will never give up. Whatever challenges and difficulties on our path, we will going to move forward. And one day, surely, we will become victorious if we truly understand the path that Heavenly Parents has gone through just to find each one of us. Aju? That's why our value, we are truly valuable people. Each one of us. How much Heavenly Parent have overcome, for 6,000 of years just to find each one of us. That's why no matter what, we have to move forward with, greater determination each day and truly determined to be victorious no matter what. Aju? So that we can, give value for the tremendous suffering that our Heavenly Parent have gone through to find us. Aju? Father said, you must work with the conviction that God Himself has called you. Even though your field of work may be limited, most important is who is directing your labor. You must work with the conviction that God Himself has called you for the sake of the nation or the world. Although your environment may restrict you, you should believe that you work for the sake of the nation or the world. Even though you are only one person, you ought to work with that conviction. When you receive a work order, the results will vary depending on for whom you are working. That's why this is the most important. Sometimes we can find our limitations. We confront our limitations. Sometimes we find, like we are so limited. But sinasabi ni Father dito, sometimes, even though your field of work may be limited, but most important is who is directing you, directing your labor. Father said we must understand. You must work with the conviction that God Himself has called you for the sake of the nation or the world. It is not, hindi kung sino-sino lang ang tumawag sa atin. It is our Heavenly Parent. We are called. God called us directly for the sake of the nation and for the world. So Father said, although your environment may restrict you, you should believe that you work for the sake of the nation or for the world. That's why we have to believe that we are working, even though there are many limitations, there are many restrictions. We have to believe that we are working for the sake of the nation and for the world. So even though you are only one person, you ought to work with that conviction. When you receive a work order, the results will vary depending on whom you are working. Kaya ito po yung pinaka-importante sa atin, for whom we are working with. For whom we are working for. Para kanino ba? Why we are doing all these things? Yun yung pinaka-importante. Even though sometimes we have many limitations. But if we understand that we are working for Heavenly Parent, sabi ni Father dito, results vary depending on whom you are working or for whom you are working. Pag minsan, I am just doing this, duty for just my leader or just for my parents, then there are a lot of limitations. There are many things we cannot overcome. Kapag iniisip lang po natin na this is my duty, this is my duty, this is my obligation, I need to do this. But if you think higher than that, if we are all thinking that we are doing this because God called us, right? Heavenly Parents has called us for this work, for this mission, then we can accomplish results beyond imagination. Kaya nga minsan, bakit po we are doing the same thing? Bakit po nagkakaiba-iba ang result? People of the same field, right? For example, they are doing the same work, they are doing the work the same time or the same amount of time, pero nagkakaiba sa resulta. Bakit po? Sabi ni Father dito sa atin, result varies, depends on whom you are working. And then your understanding, the level of your understanding of whom you are working with. Why true parents, could accomplish this much beyond, our imagination, beyond the imagination of fallen man. Because true parents fully understand for whom they are working with, for whom they are doing this work that they are doing. Kaya nga po, ito po yung pinaka-importante sa lahat. We have to really understand why we need to do Heavenly Tribal Messiah. Why we need to become chonbo, right? Why we are doing all these things that we are doing. This is all for our Heavenly Parent, for the fulfillment of God's dream, for the fulfillment of God's desire. That's why we are doing this, for the sake of our nation, for the sake of the world. So with this kind of understanding, we will going to surely, absolutely put our effort, and then we will be even amazed with the work or with the result that will going to come. Aju, if we start to really have this deep understanding that we are doing this work for our Heavenly Parent. Heavenly Parent's the one who called us. Hindi lang yung nag-invite sa'yo, hindi lang yung parents mo, hindi lang yung uncle mo, yung auntie mo, or other people that called you here. They are just instruments of Heavenly Parent, but it is Heavenly Parent who has called each one of us to do this mission. Aju, that's why this understanding is important to each one of us. Because based on this understanding, then results will surely come. Aju? Father said, God does not walk behind us. He is always ahead of us. So the path of faith is not easy. Anyone can be called by God, but it is extremely difficult to follow His call. God does not walk behind us. He is always ahead of us. You cannot imagine how fast He moves. He surges so far ahead, we can hardly keep pace. Therefore, it is hard to come up with a long-term strategy or plan in accord with the providence of restoration. God's providence moves by leaps and bounds. On the basis of our investment of indemnity, it advances from the individual to the family, to the tribe, and so on. It leaps ahead from stage to stage rather than advancing through a steady numerical progression. Sometimes, God's providence is really exciting. Father said God's providence moves by leaps and bounds because Heavenly Parents is the one leading this providence. That's why, sabi ni Father dito, therefore, it is hard to come up with a long-term strategy or a plan in accord with the providence of restoration. Sometimes there are, immediate, God's providence has leaps and bounds. Sometimes biglang taas, right? So it depends, Father said, on the basis of our investment of indemnity, it advances from the individual to the family, to the tribe, and so on. So Father said it leaps ahead from stage to stage by stage, rather than advancing through a steady numerical progression. Really, stage by stage, God's providence. So that's why Father said, He's reminding us, God is always ahead of us. Kaya nga sinasabi po natin, this is God's providence. This is not anybody's providence. We are just actually following. God is the one leading. So, through our true parents now, through our true mother on earth, and through our true father in the spiritual world. Sometimes still, until this time, still we cannot understand many things. So, anong kailangan lang natin gawin? Is to absolutely unite and follow. This is what, kasi nga, sometimes our understanding is limited. Even mother is many times repeated to us, especially after father's passing. Sometimes our mind is still small. There are many things that true mother started that time that, even sabi ni mother, our leaders, all of us, we couldn't understand. Mother wants to do this. But, we didn't understand that. Because, sometimes our mind is still limited. But we have to understand that God is the one leading the providence. Centering on our true father and true mother now, both in the physical and spiritual world. So what we need to do now is to absolutely follow. Kaya nga po ngayon, really, we are now living in the time beyond, this physical world. Kaya kanina, Ate Wilma, very grateful to all the true family members, to the true children who are working now behind the scene. Especially our elder brother, now Hyojinim, Hungjinim, Demonim. Right? Kaya nga po ngayon, this is beyond many situations now, many conspiracy theory, even sa vaccine din ngayon. But, really, we have to really go beyond na sa ating physical thinking lang. Ibang era na po talaga tayo ngayon. We have to really understand. Many situations ngayon, we cannot just think beyond what we can see. We have to go beyond. Kasi nga si Father po ngayon working on the spiritual realm. True mothers in the physical world. They bring together this physical and spiritual world as one. Kaya tayo rin po ngayon, we have to advance our thinking. We shouldn't only think based on the physical realm or what our physical senses can perceive. Otherwise, we will lose our way. Kaya nga po ngayon, this is also now the time to, our spiritual senses. We have to be more keen now. We need to become more sensitive now with what's happening. Yung mga situations po in the physical world, this is not only because of what's happening physically. That's why really, sometimes even us, tayo po ng mga members, sometimes still our mind is only on the physical realm. We are not going beyond. We have to really think beyond now the physical realm. God's providence is not only, can see physically. This is really both now. Of course, things should be restored on earth. But the work is beyond the physical world. We have to really understand this. Heavenly Parents now is leading the providence directly and from before. But now, because of our true parents, both in the physical and spiritual world, this is really beyond now imagination. Adyo, that's why tayo rin po, we have to really go beyond. Kaya nga yung mga nangyayari po ngayon, even with this pandemic, this is not just physical problem. And then now, vaccine came, many theories then. Really, we have to really now understand more deeply. God is the one directly guiding the providence, both the physical and spiritual world. That's why actually, we don't need to worry about anything now. What we just need to worry is how we are keeping up with Heavenly Parent, with true parents, and how we are advancing by fulfilling our portion of responsibility. Aju, don't worry about anything. Heavenly Parents is leading the providence through our true parents who are leading both in the physical and spiritual world. Aju, really we are now living in this time. We have to really understand where we are now. Father said, you need to advance on the path of the will with an earnest heart. Therefore, if you try to fit your work for God's providence into an annual plan or a plan based on any other particular time period, you will find yourself frustrated and will fall behind. Kaya nga sabi ni Father, you cannot just, make yung own plan mo. You have your annual plan, ganito. You cannot just rely on the plan that you are going to make. Otherwise, you will find yourself frustrated and will fall behind. Considering this, Father said, you need to advance on the path of the will with an earnest heart. This is the most important. How much, we can connect our heart to Heavenly Parent and true parents' earnest heart and desire of fulfilling the will. You need to constantly adjust your relationship with God, remaining a minus to His plus. You have to find your proper position in the providence, and as you move along, you must adjust to the providential time. Kaya nga po actually kailangan natin mag-adjust. Kahit na may mga plan na tayo, of course, plan is needed. Importante po yan. We need to have our plans. But we have to be ready from moment to adjust based on the providential time period. Kaya nga po, ang subject dito is God's timetable, not our own timetable. That's why we have to be always ready to adjust. However, Father said, knowing the proper timing and when to take a particular action is exceedingly difficult. To get the proper timing, particular action is exceedingly difficult. Kaya nga, ang pinaka-importante is our connection of heart. Our earnest heart. Connecting to our Heavenly Parent and true parents of fulfilling the will. Ito po yung pinaka-importante sa lahat. More than any external things that we are preparing. What is more important now is our connection of heart to our Heavenly Parent, to our true parents, to our true mother. So with that connection, then we can find the proper timing. Kasi nga ito yung pinakamahirap, sabi ni Father. However, knowing the proper timing and when to take a particular action is exceedingly difficult. This is the most difficult. That's why what will going to bring us to the proper timing, it is our connection of heart to our Heavenly Parent and true parent. This is our earnest heart to advance the will, connecting to our Heavenly Parent and true parents. Kaya nga, how can we understand Heavenly Parent, true parent's heart, true mother's heart now, who is with us on earth? What true mother wants. Like now we have new regional president. We are all trying, even I myself especially, how can I understand the heart of our new regional president, President Hori? I cannot understand many things. But once I connect this, once we connect this kind of heart, then we can always see the right timing. What is particular thing needed at this very particular time? What is urgently that we need to do? Then we can understand, we can see clearly. That's why this is now the time to also really open up our, spiritual senses, to be more, sensitive now with the providential time. Aju, that's why we have to go beyond our physical thinking. We have to go beyond this physical realm. Aju, that's why now both the physical and spiritual world are working so actively, centering on our true Father and true Mother. Aju, that's why we have to pray a lot actually this time, so that we can receive heavenly wisdom, right? We have to really pray a lot continuously. Father said, you are called for the sake of humanity and the world. So therefore, you should consecrate yourself and apply the knowledge you gained through your education. All of you are commissioned to speak on God's behalf in your own communities, to convey God's love and hope to your neighbors, and to help people work for God and humanity. Utilize your education in your endeavors to awaken the congregations in churches and temples and mobilize them to build a world of peace and freedom with God at the center. Yeah, sabi ni Father dito, we are really called for the sake of God and humanity, each one of us. That's why bawat isa po sa atin, we are so valuable. We are so precious in the eyes of Heavenly Parent and true parents. That's why don't think, parang konti lang yung mission mo, maliit lang yung mission mo, you are not so important. Don't think like that. Each one of us, kahit ano po ang mission natin, everything is connected in fulfilling one goal, like the part of the body. Hindi mo sabihin na yung mission ng paa is hindi ganun ka-importante, mas importante yung utak, mas importante yung mata, mas importante yung ilong. Each part of the body, they are equal in value. Kapag yung isa hindi niya ma-fulfill yung part niya, then what will going to happen? The entire body cannot fulfill its mission. The same is true with us. Bawat isa po sa atin, hindi importante kung ano yung position natin. It doesn't matter, right? Each one of us is playing a specific role to fulfill one goal. Yun lang po yung pinaka-goal natin. That's why each one of us, we are very important and special. Aju, sabi ni Father, all of you are commissioned to speak on God's behalf in your own communities, to convey God's love and hope to your neighbors, and to help people work for God and humanity. Kaya nga, Father said, utilize your knowledge, your education, in your endeavors. Kung saan man po tayo magaling, ano man na pag-aralan natin, actually we are continuously being educated. Learning continuously. Life, hindi naman nag-stop yan, nag-graduate ka na, tapos na yung education natin. Continuously, we are being educated. Continuously, the process of education is going on in our life. So sabi ni Father, utilize your education in your endeavors to awaken the congregations in churches and temples, and mobilize them to build a world of peace and freedom with God at the center. Especially our continuous education of God's Word, understanding our purpose of life. Ito yung pinaka-importante. So we have to use and utilize this, sabi ni Father, to awaken the congregations in churches. People who are continuously living, yung routinary life, they go to church, and then, they do the same thing. They do the same thing after the church again. So we have to awaken these people of churches, temples, sabi ni Father, and mobilize them to build a world of peace and freedom with God at the center. That's why this is our mission. That's why God called us, for the sake of all humanity and the world. Kaya nga, as we are continuously learning and being educated, and then we also elevated our spirituality continuously, not only our physical knowledge, right? So through this, we can really work to awaken people more, especially people, religious people. From churches, Father said, temples, let's mobilize them and really together build the world of peace and freedom with God at the center. Kaya nga po, hindi lang tayo as people of this Heavenly Parents Holy Community. That's why we are now expanding our tribes. So ngayon, at least we can raise up talaga yung core na 43. Can you imagine if this 43 will work the same way we are doing, how much the providence will advance, right? Kaya nga, we have to continue. We have to have our core, and then through this, we can work together, reach out the community, right? The bigger community, until we can, restore our nation. Sabi ni Father, lahat tayo, we are commissioned to speak on God's behalf. Lahat po tayo, bawat isa po sa atin, we are being called to stand as God's representative, to convey God's love and hope to our neighbors, to help the people work for God and humanity. Adju, so this is what we are called for. So Father said, God called me to save America. So God called me to save America. When I actually arrived there, you can imagine how earnest and anxious I was. Likewise, when those of you who are here in Korea receive a direction from me, unless you are as earnest as I was when I left Seoul to save America, you can never become my partners in heart. My heart is governed by the principle of self-denial. It does not follow the principle of self-centeredness. Kaya nga, sabi ni Father, we need to have the same heart as He. So, when Father went to America and when he left Seoul, sabi niya, when I actually arrived there, you can imagine how earnest and anxious I was. We cannot imagine, how much eager Father to save America. God called him to save America. So, yung eagerness ni Father, we cannot explain that. Likewise, sabi ni Father, when those of you who are here in Korea receive a direction from me, so hindi lang, even tayo rin po, that we are called in the Philippines, for example, or in Japan, wherever you are, unless you are as earnest as I was when I left Seoul to save America, you can never become my partners in heart. Kaya nga, kapag hindi raw tayo magkaroon ng katulad ng heart ni Father when He was called to America, then we cannot be partners in heart. Father said, my heart is governed by the principle of self-denial. It does not follow the principle of self-centeredness. That's why, as we continue to learn and study God's words, how can we have such a heart as our true parents? A heart that is governed by principle of self-denial. Kaya nga, we are still on the process. Ilang percent na kaya? So we have to evaluate ourselves. And then kapag still we are, lacking of so many things, as we are now, we have to advance and really invest more, right? So that's why the only way for us to really become one and be partner with our true parents, if we can have the same earnest heart as Father, as our true parents, especially when they went to America. So how can we have that kind of heart? Tayo rin po ngayon, in the Philippines, how eager we are. Wherever you are now, how eager you are to save your nation. God called us. Lahat po tayo tinawag ni God to save our nation, to save this world. How much eager we are. How much are we willing to sacrifice? How much are we willing to give our life for the sake of restoration of this nation? Unless we can have this kind of heart, we cannot become one with our true parents. We cannot become partners. That's why this is now the time for us to reflect, Adju, and really offer our gratitude because God called us. Adju, that's why we have to show our gratitude by working based on God's expectation so that we can really become partners with our beloved true parents. Adju, that's why, beloved brothers and sisters, tinawag po tayo ni Heavenly Parent to really fulfill this mission. This is not anyone else who called us. Of course, God used someone, yung spiritual parent po natin, but it is actually Heavenly Parent who called us. That's why no matter what, all of us needs to be victorious. Sons and daughters of Heavenly Parent. So let's really work together. Let's help one another. Adju, that in our lifetime, in the lifetime of our beloved true parents, we will going to complete the providence for the sake of the future generations. Adju, Adju. So let's really work harder. True parents is continuously, showing us and encouraging us. So, as we are living together with True Mother on earth, there's no way but for all of us to be victorious. Adju, let's really have a victorious day once again today. So, let's really appreciate our Heavenly Parents and True Parents. Thank you very much, Heavenly Parents and True Parents. So, I wish you all the best in your missions. And may Heavenly Parents have blessings always be upon you and your families. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much po, Sir L.A. Once again, brothers and sisters, truly from the onset of our birth until now, we are called by Heavenly Parents and True Parents. And through the trainings and happy sufferings each one of us undergoes, we are very grateful to have the strength, the right attitude, and the proper mindset to follow that calling. And even though we are limited, yet we always move on and run forward. And in every step of moving forward, there is always learning, there is always growth, there is hope, joy, rebirth, and ultimately victory. Thank you so much, Heavenly Parents and True Parents, for this priceless education. Thank you so much once again, Sir LA, for your guidance and for your parental heart. Your selfless love is greatly felt by each one of us here across this very blessed country and beyond. And once again, let's give a hand to our Heavenly Parents and True Parents, to all our leaders, and to each one of us. In our movement, we have this hidden teacher, our experiences partnered with our reflection. To start, let us hear the reflection of the co-regional leader of Region 7 and also the BFD head coordinator of Region 7, Mrs. Eugenia Wanilio.
Thank you so much, our brothers and sisters from Bohol. Thank you to our national leader for very powerful message for everyone. So good morning to all our elders, our leaders, blessed families, brothers and sisters. A beautiful morning to you. So actually the message I think was very powerful, and everyone could take tips or reflect on it. So I actually even write down so that I will not forget to mention the important points. And then as it was mentioned, so Father said, when you receive a work order, the results will vary depending on for whom you are working. So in everything that we do now, whether we are young, still young, maybe single members, we are doing mission, or we are working, or maybe we are blessed families, no, and we are also focusing on our activities, no, different kind of activities, family activities, maybe work activities, mission activities. We are we will experience it, no. We need to be confident about it, that the results will depend on who is our center, right? So of course, that's why we know well now, it's from our experiences, that if God is our center, then everything we do destined to bring success. Jill. So, but if we are like vacillating, no, there is a tendency, as a, because we are also no results of the fall. So we have this tendency to change, to deviate, no, and then every time we reach a certain height now in our life, now is individual, so is a families, there is maybe a temptation or a situation that we can deviate from our fundamental motivation in life. So these words of True Father remind us that we should always put God in the center. Now, whether we are studying, doing mission, doing Tribal Messiah, or working, we should think that all of this is our offering to God. Now, and the resources that we gain, for example, financial resources, this is also a blessing from God, and this is also resources given to us by God for the sake of higher goal, right, beyond our own personal needs and our family needs. Adjo. So if you have that kind of mind, surely more blessings will come to us, and more God will guide us, and we can achieve a higher goal, no, in every dimension of our work and our life. So also there was the words of True Father. Father said that it's you who are responsible to achieve dominion of Lord over yourself and dominion over the creation. So which is practically now first and third blessing. Now we are reminding that actually we have the power now to fulfill So sometimes maybe when we face many difficulties or challenges or the environment seems to be so difficult, no? It's a good reminder from True Father that we have the power, no? So God doesn't give us a burden more than we can carry. So we truly can do it. Aju. So, and then also my favorite words of True Father today was we read together that Father said, God's providence moves by leaps and bounds, not in a straight like mathematical, formula. If you study, for example, management or mathematics or something that intellectually you will analyze, no, based on your own idea. So if you apply that kind of human-centered intellectual thinking, so it doesn't work like that in God's providence. In God's providence, the results will depend on not just on some kind of human analytics, our own intellectual understanding of how things should do, now should go. But in God's providence, it depends on the power of our sincerity, right? On the level of our Johnson, and how steady and consistent we are to pursue that Johnson. So that's what True Father mean by leaps and bounds. So that's why also Father said we need to constantly consecrate ourselves. So actually this word consecrate was new for me, but I heard it last time during the Sunday service given also by our Reverend Julius. So he mentioned those words from the Bible. It was also striking for me, consecrate. So what you mean by consecrate? Consecrate means continuously purify ourselves and make ourselves offering to God. So regardless what you have achieved or attained, that is the heart of Hyojon, of filial piety, filial son and daughter, that we continuously purify and offer ourselves to God. So, for example, of course, if we already, and then connected to the message also of Kuya Julio, so if we already, maybe some of us are still like young, no, or in the beginning of the way, or maybe we are looking from one side of the river, Jordan River, right? And then we see, oh, this is another shore of Canaan. I have to cross over there, right? I have to cross to my Canaan. So I'm still standing here. So, or if we already entered the Jordan River, that all of these obstacles, no, of course, our ancestors, many things, no, that we have to face, no, face to face, and then go against the current, right? Go forward with absolute faith to God. So, or we are blessed family and we already crossing, we already even maybe we already fulfill the HTM mission and we crossed like first stage, no, we crossed the Jordan River, we entered the shore of Canaan. But on that point, still, we have to remember also the history. Now, we remember well from the history that when Israelites entered now the promised land, when they crossed the Jordan River and settle in Canaan, somehow they start losing their faith, right? They start losing their faith. So because they look to the Canaanites, that Canaanites were more rich than them, now have more opportunities than them, so they start losing their focus, their determination, their sincerity to God, and then become more external, right? And even marry their children with Canaanites, because they lost that kind of sincerity, that kind of devotion. They stop consecrating themselves to God. So that's why we are reminding from the history and from True Father's words that in our lives, if we truly want to remain, truly want to like make our lives one with God, truly want to be filial sons and daughters of God, forever. So we cannot just stop our lives of faith, or like rest, no, or say now it's my vacation time, I already fulfill now my chanbo or something like that, no, because until true fathers, true parents heart, and until we build substantial Canaan, right, not in faith only, no, or symbolically, but substantial place that God can rest, that God can dwell, we cannot stop. Adjo. So that is also our true mother's heart, that we can feel a true parent's heart, that no matter, of course, true parents already fulfilled everything, right? But what moves or drives true mother and true father to continuously consecrate themselves, continuously offer their devotions, now go through even suffering, physically like suffering their body, is because of that heart, no, that they cannot leave God, cannot leave God's dream, God's it's impossible, no. So that's why they will work until their last breath, no, to advance God's providence, God's dream. So, and then the last thing I want to say, that even in our little way, no, in our Trouble Messiah mission. So we also experience this message of true Father, that God's providence is not moving in some kind of rational, formula that we can create in our intellectual thinking, but God's providence moves truly by leaps and bounds. So I remember when we were called to fulfill our Trouble Messiah mission, we are very young couple, maybe 3 or 4 years after we started a family. And that time, the providence of Tribal Messiah just only starting nationwide. So, and then we are thinking, oh, how can we fulfill it? We don't have any experience, any expertise or authority. No, we are very young. Now, who will follow us? No, or listen to us? But we united with our that time Dr. Yon, and of course with our true mother's calling. So it really motivated us to go beyond our limitations. And I remember that when we determined to fulfill Tribal Messiah mission, we offered so many Johnson condition, like continuously offered Johnson condition and praying together, and then continuously reading True Father's words, and then going out to our neighborhood, to the streets of our neighborhood, and reaching out to all those people around us, and trying to break through how to bless, no, how to bring them to the blessing, how to bring them to true parents. And then I remember that even at that time, so when we started in Cebu City, and then we choose some street, no, that we go every day during our Johnson condition. But every time on Sunday when we have schedule for blessing, nobody will come. No one. Even the poor of the poor that we visited in those streets will not come. So we were so desperate. Why like that? Why nobody comes to receive the blessing from their parents, even though we go there and we go in that, even squatters area, house to house, and then reach out to people. And then I remember during that 40 days condition, the first condition, that what happened, that that street that we visit often has had a fire, suddenly fire, and then so many houses burned, and then more than 430 people lost their home. So it was so shocking to us, but at the same time we realized that God's providence is really urgent. And then if we as like able figure truly fulfill our responsibility and don't stop, don't give up, invest our sincerity, then God will move this world. So even if the like fallen people, no, or secular people doesn't like to follow God, so they will be the one also to, unfortunately, no, they will pay the price. So, and then I remember that all those people from that burn street were placed by government in the public school to temporarily to there. So we were able to visit them again. And then at that time, when they go through suffering, when they go through misfortune, their mind become open. So I remember they were the first batch, like 30 couples or 20 couples that we blessed, no, husband and wife. So in our barangay here in Cebu City, in Sambak Uno Barangay. So, and that was the starting point of our Travel Messiah mission. Then after that, indemnity paid. So when we went to different barangay, and then it was already more easy. Now, the spirit world was cooperating with us. And I remember about the right timing. So when we went, I remember even though we blessed already here and there, but still you need to fulfill this like number complete, right? 430 to offer to God and to parents. So we were also like struggling how to offer it. And that time, I think 2017, no, 2017, we also received direction from our leader, from Dr. Yon, that True Mother said that it's urgent that especially the leaders, we need to fulfill now, that there is no more time. So we felt that all our other activities in the center, all other, missions are, even though important, we have to put priority this Tribal Messiah mission, no matter what. I remember we also prayed and seek earnestly how we can fulfill this 430, the number. And then uh, uh, that was also a Christmas, the time of Christmas coming during New Year. And then I remember my husband at that time saw a dream, this true mother, that true mother, in his dream, true mother was coming to Cebu. See, he was so surprised, and he thought, "Oh, Chumada is coming to Cebu. I have to find the hotel fast." So he wake up from his dream and telling me, "Oh, mother is coming. We need to find the hotel." And then he realized that it was just a dream. So that time it was challenging to us how to fulfill this number, because we were focused to bless the parents of our students at Tongil Mudo that we did, that we have this regular martial arts training in our hometown. But during the Christmas, the school was closed. So we could not do any more activities. So we were late for time, no, to fulfill this 430. And then we decided, okay, let's just go anywhere. We have to find a way. So, and then we approach neighboring barangays that have a big gym, big facility to accommodate many people. And then surprisingly, no, the barangay that also the relatives of my husband really work spirit world. I remember the health workers, almost like we did not give them, money or things. They were so inspired. They said, yes, it's so good. We will give rice to the people. And then they're the one who went and mobilized all over that barangay. And then that time also we don't have money, how we will give. And then my husband approached the congressman Caminera that attended the conference in Thailand. So he's the one also donated 20 sacks of rice. So, and then when we arrived to the venue, we were surprised that even the barangay captain was surprised that so many people, 1,000 people gathered. The barangay captain was shocked. So, so why so many people gathered? So anyway, and then that was like a first step to fulfill the 430. So, and now also national leaders said that now is the time that we are in this pandemic, and then so many challenges, and then financially so many people also suffer during this time. And then also we can think that if we just allow ourselves to like feel pity, no, and think humanistically, human-centered, then we will give up, right? But if you think that God's providence always moves in leaps and bounds, and there is always a higher scale behind that we cannot see with our physical eye, so then we will move forward continuously, and surely God will show us the way. Adieu. So, thank you very much. Have a blessed morning.
Brothers and sisters, let's give a hand to our beloved Ate Eugenia. Thank you so much, Ate Eugenia, for your hard works and hard works. Upon hearing from you, it seems that our life of faith is getting more exciting in a way that we cannot imagine. For our second share for today, So he's a legend to us in terms of leadership, heart, and Jongsong. So may I call in one of our core blessed Japanese Filipino family now residing in Japan, our beloved Kuya Edgar Nacorda. Good morning po.
Good morning. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you po, Kuya.
Okay, so I was so moved by the topic of today's morning devotion, destiny. I remember when I joined the church 1982, nag-officer ako ng ROTC because I wanted to become military man, but I was witnessed. I realized that becoming a blessed couple, becoming a member is a destiny. Maraming persecution doon, no? We determined to go to fulfill our responsibility. So, nag-move in ako sa center. I really opposed the Catholic Church opposition. And then, full-time ako sa Manila. 1984. I realized na yung providence ni God, we have to go 8 steps to perfection. Do you know that? 8 steps. Servant of servants, servant, adopted son, stepson, true son, father, parents position, and then finally grandparents like God. And then to fulfill that in the servant or servant position, we have to witness 3 spiritual children. Move on to yan. From 3 spiritual children to 36 couples, 72 couples. Now, our destiny, at least 430, which is in the position to become like grandparents, like God's position, we have to reach that as our destiny. To become Chongbo is a destiny. I think that's very important. Now, in 1990, the father give direction to go home, to become the Messiah. After father's speech in the middle of the night, many staff called to the members, even early morning. Father said, pack up and go to Esteban Messiah. So walang reservation. Nagtataka sila. Others really follow father's direction totally without any reservation. And then isang continental director noon, si Reverend Mrs. Kim, assigned by father in one of the Islamic nation. And then they said, Father, what shall we do there as National Messiah? We have no member there. And then father said, just go, maybe sit down in the restaurant, take coffee, and watch the people. Because you represent me. So all nations must have God's representative, even though walang members, because that's the providence. Now, in father ended his 21-year course to parents from 1960s to 1981. They ended in Danbury prison. That's like crucifixion. Christianity failed to follow to father. So father indemnified everything to the Danbury course. After that, the Christians were revived. They wanted to go to join to father to prison, but father said, you just study divine principle. So Christian leaders study divine principle, and they rally behind to support the parents. So father donated to them 30 truckloads of divine principle. And then finally, in the 1990s, 144,000 Christian leaders were blessed, but that's only spiritual realm. We are going to fulfill the Tongbo providence, which in my understanding, when the mother opened the door for the kingdom of heaven in 2027, there should be about the first batch of resurrected individuals whose names will be registered in the book of life, which is 144,000. These people are sealed with the 7 seals, with the seal of the living God. So I really prayed, what is the 7 seals? I think this is 7 conditions. Holy wine, holy water, 7 yan di ba? So, how nice it is. When I computed it, we need more than 2,000 chongbo to have 43 couples to finish the 144,000, the first batch of registered individuals whose names are registered in the Book of Life. Nasa Revelation yan eh. Now, in 1988, yung country natin was almost taken by communists. Very strong. Mayroong gunpoint doon yata sa Malacanang eh. So, time of President Aquino. And then, the World Mission Department head, Sir Reverend Kwak, asked the members to have a signature campaign of who wants to associate us in the number of 144,000. So what we did, nag-mobilize kami 144,000 individuals. We are one team, I think 30 couples ata yun eh. 30 people. Si Jess Mariano, si Diba magkasama ko Pedro Softsoul. And then we achieved the 144,000 signatures. And just follow that direction. And then President, Defense Secretary Enrile and Chief of Staff Pedro Ramos attended our CAUTA seminar. And then because of their initiative and the governors who joined the seminar, we were able to save the Philippines. Now, last 2020, during our blessing, mayroong registered sa Philippines daw na 120,000 couples blessed. According to my wife's spiritual father, reported ni Kuya Jimmy yata, 120,000 blessed. We are under threat ngayon sa China sa sitwasyon yan yung to criminalize the Philippines or not. So we have to really be careful and do our best to feel responsibility. I think following the direction of becoming strong boys, one condition for Satan to retreat. Alam mo yung before the end of communism, the father asked, to mother's autobiography, di ba? To mother asked, to parents asked in Geneva in front of the embassy of Russia to have a topic of the end of communism, the HPHC-FFWPU conference. Then they were hesitant, but father said, Dr. Kaplan, you have to follow me. And Dr. Kaplan just followed. And then it's a providential time that little by little, nag-crack down ang communism. Why? They among themselves are fighting each other among themselves. That's why the situation becomes like that. But the father mentioned that they want to revive, China wants to revive communism, and if China will activate, they will claim our international highway projects, which is going on now, yung Belt Initiative ng China. So the Philippines, who is the center of the Providence and Pacific Rim, is in a very sensitive issue. So my point here is this, like this. Before, to get a member to join the 21-day workshop, according to Reverend Ann, if we are going to pay them, how much you have to pay for the 21-day workshop, it's $1 million. But it's almost free because of the Father's love. Now, how about the blessing? You cannot pay the blessing. We cannot pay the blessing that God has given us. That's why in the early days of our church, many determined to really fulfill the responsibility of doing fundraising without complaint or reservation, hesitation, without complaint. So we did fundraising, and sa atin ngayon, we're very lucky because very easy to get results. Before, to find a person to attend the 21-day workshop is as hard as finding a needle down in the ocean, in the Pacific Ocean. Now, very easy because everything has been prepared. All we have to do is start. So Father mentioned, that his couple says, it doesn't matter whether you have result or not. The most important is whether you're doing it or not. So ngayon, maraming exclusive schools, di ba, sa Manila or anywhere. May mga exclusive schools dyan na mga anak ba sa elementary, nag-introduce ka ng mga parents. Who is your parents? Who is your mother, like this? Some children say, my father is a doctor. My father is engineer. My father is the governor. What if your children will say, my father is God? How wonderful it is, no? At this situation. Now, Maraming corrupt na officials sa government. Why? Because they're backed up by presidents, backed up by senators and congressmen. My father said, go! Don't have any fear or hesitation. I'm backing you up. Imagine, tayo brothers and sisters, we're backed up by the Messiah. So that's our destiny, actually. To go to the kingdom of heaven is our destiny. Mayroon daw flexibility daw eh. Yung, to consecrate is, I think, to really dedicate ourselves. Yun ang focus natin, really, with all our preparations necessary, everything. Saka sabi ni Father ngayon, sabi ni Father, meron tayong 7 responsibilities of Chong Ilgok, di ba? That Father, that we are told to prepare. And one of that is using the talent and ability to fulfill the will of God. So we have to utilize all our resources, so ability, to use our ability to do the will of God, mga potential dyan. I think we can make it, brothers and sisters, if we unite with utmost sincerity, without any fear of reservation, without any hesitation. Just follow that true mother's direction, and I think everything will just crack down. Satan will retreat. Thank you very much. I appreciate your taking time, especially our national leaders. Leo is a small lion, so he is already blessed and married, so he should be a lion. National leader. He's national leader, so he should be like a king's position. So Lion King. The Leo is Lion King of God's providence in the Philippines. Thank you very much. Ajo.
Thank you so much, Kuya Edgar, for your sharing and for your hard works and heart works in the Providence. Really, our destiny is to become Chonbo families, and we cannot wait to see you po again here in the Philippines. And brothers and sisters, once again, let's give a hand to our heavenly parents and true parents, for Ate Eugenia and Kuya Edgar, and to every single one of us. At this point in time, to keep us abreast of the latest activities in our humble, holy community, let us hear some announcements. So we have our Asia Pacific Leadership Conference on July 3 for the opening ceremony, on July 10 and 17 for the open forums, and July 24 for the closing ceremony. And the other details are flashed in the screen, so you can take a screenshot. And also this coming July 27 to August 7 this year, 3 to 5 p.m., we will be having our 4th 12-day special Philippines Yojong Leadership Training Program. So we have here also the registration fee of 300 and the contact details of the person if we are interested. And also another inspiring activity, it will be held on July 28 to 29 this year. Once again, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Manila time. It's the ILC 2021 Think Tank 2022 Global Forum, hosted by the International Leadership Conference and Universal Peace Federation Asia Pacific. And also we have the 2021 Summer Yojong Chonbo Great Works, commemorating the 9th anniversary of the Holy Ascension of our true Father, Sun Myung Moon, the true parent of heaven, earth, and humankind, on August 28 to 29, 2021. And the registration deadline is on August 10, 2021. And we can contact this email or call this contact number flashed on our screen for more information. So now, brothers and sisters, to lead us in our closing prayer, may I call in our beloved Regional Leader of Region 7, Mr. Reverend Cesar Wanilio.
Let us close our morning devotion. Let us close our eyes. Let's bow our head and let us feel the presence of our Heavenly Parent. Let us pray. 사랑하시는 하늘 부모님, 천지인 참 부모님, 사랑합니다. 감사합니다. Our loving Heavenly Parent, we are so grateful for your message this morning devotion through our national leader, Reverend Leo Angelo Halok. Really, Father, for each one of us, we are called, especially in this time, in this age, of golden age of your providence, that we have to treasure and that we have to really, Father, value how much our true parents, how much our heavenly parents really calling each one of us to realize your dreams, your desire. And all of us, we have this portion of responsibility that we wanted to fulfill. May Heavenly Parent, all of us, our brothers and sisters, all blessed families around the world, that we can unite together and we can put our hearts together, centering on this current providence, so that we can really, Father, make you happy and liberate your heart. Heavenly Parent, please guide us today, whatever our mission and responsibility that you have entrusted to each one of us. We pray, despite of this pandemic, despite of this crisis, but all of this, Father, there's an opportunity behind all of this. You are working very hard to establish your ideals here on earth, Heavenly Parent. And once again, thank you for allowing ourselves to purify ourselves in this hondoke, in this morning devotion, our hearts and mind and body, so that we can move forward to advance your providence. All of these we offer together. I report in our name, Cesar and Eugenia Wanilo from the Blessed Angel family. Aju.
Aju. Brothers and sisters, let's have our unison prayer. Sejak. Aju, aju, aju. In solidarity, let's give our morning greetings to our heavenly parents and true parents. Good morning, heavenly parents and true parents. Good morning to our beloved leaders, our blessed
Yes,
and
good
Chonbo
morning.
families. Good morning po. Thank you for joining our morning devotion and see you tomorrow.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much, Brother Dale.
See you tomorrow.
Kamusta, national leader?
Thank you,
Thank you so
Pastor
much,
LA,
Region
Ate
7,
Ev,
for hosting our morning
Ate
devotion.
Cesar. Thank you po, Ate Judy.
Thank
Yes, thank you
you.
so
Thank you
much.
po.
To take picture of
Hello.
camera.
Po.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning,
LTP
girls.
family, MJ,
Thank you
KJ.
so much.
To
Thank you,
thank you to
Dale.
the Family Center Cebu.
Wonderful. Bye.
Thank you, Region 7, for
Thank you.
our morning devotion.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You.
Happy New Year.